What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode number 321 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. Today's episode number 321 is entitled An Irish Goodbye. So some of you might be scratching your heads right now saying, what's an Irish goodbye? I never heard of that. Well, it's becoming popular. I've seen it mentioned on TV shows a couple of times recently, so I guess it's becoming more popular in the States. And the phrase means it's that time when we leave a social gathering without saying goodbye to anyone. We just slip away unnoticed without telling the host or other guests. So it's that time when you're at a party, you're at a social setting, and you just slip out the door. It's a way to avoid lengthier, drawn out farewells. Maybe you're not a hugger and you don't want to go to that person who always has to give a big hug in saying goodbye. Maybe you don't want to say goodbye in person to that person who would start a new conversation and just talk your ear off and keep you for a long amount of time. Or maybe you want to avoid those people that if you say goodbye to them in person, they're going to say, let's get together for coffee or do lunch next week. And you don't want to make a promise that you're not interested in keeping. You don't even want to make a promise to stay in touch. So it's easier to give an Irish goodbye. So how do you do it? Well, I gave you the hint right up front. You slip out unnoticed. You leave discreetly when you hope no one's paying attention, or when they're paying attention to something else. You just sort of slip out the door. You don't cause a fuss about finding your coat, your jacket, your keys, carrying your dishes out to the kitchen or whatever. You don't want to do anything to draw attention to yourself at the time of your departure. A common term that's being used when I talk to my son's generation is ghosting. And that's sort of the same as an Irish goodbye, only maybe to the max. And ghosting is when you end a personal relationship with someone, friendship, or it could be a romantic relationship, by suddenly and without explanation, just stopping all communication, maybe unfriending them, maybe blocking them from your social media, just not responding to any text messages, SMSs you get. So why would people ghost someone? We talked about why you might do an Irish goodbye from an event. People ghost someone to avoid conflict. They feel that keeping the relationship going, keeping the friendship going is just getting uncomfortable. And if they talk to the other person about it, it might get confrontational and you just don't want to go there. Another reason for ghosting could be a lack of interest. You're not feeling the same as the other person. They may be doting over you like they've got a real romantic spark going on, or that they think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. But you're not really seeing the match there. So the interest isn't equal. Another reason could be that it's really an inconvenience to continue a relationship when you're not ready for the next step. And so ghosting can actually be an easy way to disengage. Some people also ghost because they're not into that direct conversation. It's courage that they don't want to muster up to hold that face to face and go through the routine. So we've got the Irish goodbyes and we've got ghosting, and we've probably all been there, either doing it to someone or receiving it. And I'd like to have us think about the impact on the person being ghosted, or the impact on the people that you gave an Irish goodbye to. Think about your time in active addiction when ghosting is normal. Irish goodbyes are normal. You may not have known the terms for them. In our active addiction, we always slip out when no one notices. Or way before you're supposed to leave, you might show up for an event but duck out early. You don't show up at many things when you're expected, and you give no explanation as to why you just didn't come. You don't tell people where you're going. You don't tell people where you're at when you're coming home. Even if you're living with them, even if you're staying in the house, you just sort of go out, and goodbyes aren't normal, not what time you're coming home. You don't even check in when you're gone, even if you're gone for days, especially if you're out on a binge. You just fall out of total communication. And if I look at this Irish goodbye and ghosting from a little twist, in our addiction, we emotionally check out, no matter what situation we're in. So we've already said goodbye. We're already absent. We're already ghosting the person. Relationally, we stay absent because our drug of choice is the thing we want to have the relationship with. We show no attachment to holidays, birthdays, special family events. So how do the people who receive this from us actually feel anyway? Whether it's an Irish goodbye, whether it's ghosting, or whether it's the nonstop aspect of both in our addiction. They can be caught in confusion, trying to figure out what's going on because we're not talking about it. We don't have real conversations, and they have no idea what's going on or what they should do or what they're expected to do, or whether they should just go silent too. They notice a change. They notice we're different. They notice we're aloof, but they don't know what to do about it. Another reaction of people who are the receivers in this sort of behavior is anxiety and worry. They're afraid of getting a call from the hospital or the police, and they might actually cringe up every time the phone rings or there's a knock at the door, especially if it's the middle of the night. They don't know if they should call in a missing report on us or not. Even though they'd like to know if we're dead or alive, they really don't want to take that step because whatever they do, they feel it might be wrong. And they're feeling hurt. They're feeling abandoned. They could be feeling betrayed. And in this betrayal, this leaving with no explanation all the time, they have a constant lack of closure. They don't know how to move on with us or without us. But they do get caught up in self-blame. And they may question what they did wrong to make us act this way, or wonder what they should do differently to try to restore things and repair things. But while they're focusing on that, they're dealing with low self-esteem, saying their love wasn't good enough to keep us home. They're not pretty enough to keep us happy. Even children, young children, if daddy or mommy's always gone, blame themselves. If I was a better kid. So are you with me? I think we've all ghosted someone. We've all given an Irish goodbye, or we've all been the victims of it. We all know how to do it. My challenge, though, and here's a big twist. Can you do it? Can you ghost? Can you give Irish goodbyes in recovery to stay clean and sober? And you might be scratching your head. So I want to ask you, what noise, what barking dog, what person wants you to use again, would be happy if you relapsed, likes that old guy? And do you need to ghost them? Do you need to do an Irish goodbye and walk away without being noticed, without saying goodbye? But more than that, I want you to think about as you're going through that, and I want to encourage you, you might be starting to write some stuff down here. If you say, yeah, there are people that I need to do this with, there are noises that I need to get away from, I want you to plan out, where do you go to walk away? Where can you just sit and breathe so that the voices in your head shut up? That the voices in your head know they're not welcome when you're in that spot. Who can you talk to that just listens? Who can you talk to that feels you, that understands you? So if you're planning Irish goodbyes for anything or anyone that undermines you in recovery, which I think is a good thing, you want to make sure you have a support person to help you plan the action. So I want you to approach this with as much gusto as you approach amends when you go through the 12 steps. We plot out who we need to make amends with and what we need to say and how it needs to take place and where it should take place. What I'm saying is, plan out the people that you need to give an Irish goodbye to and get in the habit of giving proper goodbyes to everyone that's important to you now in your life. Maybe we could all adopt the traditional Irish farewell blessing as a way of life with the things and the people that are important to us. And I'll close with that. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you'd like to get in touch with me, just click on the link in whatever platform you're listening. You can send me an email at davidfroma2d@gmail.com or go to my website, www.froma2d.org, and click on the contact page. Keep listening to future podcast episodes, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.